In the opening scene, Seoul is leveled by a catastrophic earthquake as the military are about to arrest Yang Gi-soo for the murders and human experiments he's committed trying to bring his daughter back from the dead. The massive earthquake causes skyscrapers nearby to crumble, and so does the building of the laboratory. 3 years later, Seoul has turned into a desolate wasteland. The city is in ruins, and finding clean water and food is a daily struggle. The survivors have to filter the little dirty water they saved in order to drink it. Societal structures have crumbled, leaving only remnants of law and order. The Badlands become a playground for criminals and outlaws. Among the survivors is Choi Ji-won, who has adapted to this harsh new world. He hunts for food using a bow and arrow, and one day he spots a large crocodile nearby. Ji-won takes careful aim and manages to immobilize the crocodile. However, the crocodile starts moving again and begins chasing him. Ji-won seeks cover in a nearby car and is saved by his foster uncle Nam-san, who skillfully beheads the giant crocodile with a machete. Following the devastating earthquake, a girl named Han Suna and her grandmother Yeon-soo have made their home in Bus District, a small settlement where survivors have gathered. They lead a simple life in their small house. One day, Yeon-soo informs Suna that Nam-san and his nephew are selling the prey they've hunted at the local market. Excited, Suna suggests they go to the market to buy some of Nam-san's fresh catch. When they arrive at the bustling Bus District market, they see a crowd of people lining up to get their hands on the meat. In this new world, traditional currency is no longer in use, so people have adopted a barter system for trade. Everyone has brought valuable items to exchange for a portion of the hunted meat. One woman offers jewelry, but Nam-san declines as he has no use for it and instead trades it for a snake. Shortly after, Suna and Yeon-soo approach with a scarf. Recognizing each other and grateful for the past help they've received, Nam-san and Ji-won generously give them several pieces of crocodile meat. At the same time, a gang led by Eun-palji arrives in Bus District with news that their boss, Tiger, is searching for someone in the area. Eun-palji attempts to take Suna, but Ji-won, who secretly harbors feelings for her, steps in to defend her. However, Ji-won is overpowered by the gang members. Witnessing this, Nam-san intervenes and uses his strength to defeat all the gangsters with his bare hands. Afterward, Nam-san discovers a bottle of clean water in Eun-palji's pocket, which surprises him because clean water is a rare commodity. Eun-palji explains that he received the water from Tiger. Nam-san decides to let Eun-palji go, but instructs him to deliver a message to Tiger, informing him of their defeat. So, Eun-palji and his gang flee in fear. Sometime later, Nam-san and Ji-won are heading back to their home, which isn't too far from Suna's house. Shortly after, they notice a woman accompanied by well-dressed individuals. The woman offers Suna and her family a special apartment for teenagers and their families, complete with daily meals and various amenities. With Nam-san's advice, Suna eventually agrees to the woman's proposal. Although saddened by Suna's departure, Ji-won promises to visit her frequently in the new apartment. As a gift, Ji-won gives Suna a knitted hat, and in return, Suna gives Ji-won one of her drawings. That night, Nam-san finds himself unable to sleep, looking at a photo of a young girl in his room. Realizing that Ji-won is still awake, Nam-san invites his nephew for a hunting trip. Meanwhile, under the guidance of the woman, Suna and her grandmother embark on a journey to the special teenage apartment, along with several other people. As they walk through a grassy field, a girl named Lee Jo-ye approaches Suna and introduces herself. After traveling for some time, the grandmother and an elderly man grow tired, prompting the woman to instruct her subordinates to take them to the clinic for immediate treatment. Suna, concerned for her grandmother's condition, asks for permission to accompany her, but the woman declines, assuring Suna that they would be reunited. The group continues their journey until they reach the designated pickup location. However, the grandmother and the elderly man are secretly killed by two of the woman's henchmen. Surprisingly, Ji-won and Nam-san witness the murder and attempt to intervene. Strangely, even after Ji-won and Nam-san kill the two men, they come back to life. Just as Nam-san is getting overwhelmed by the zombie-like assailants, a woman named Lee Yoon-ho comes to his rescue by beheading one of them, attacking Nam-san. After the fight is over, they promptly bury the grandmother. The following morning, Namsan and Jiwan approach Yoonho, who is still at the scene of the previous night's attack, and inquire about her identity. Meanwhile, Suna has already boarded a vehicle with Jo-ye and the others on their way to the apartment. Back to Yoonho, she introduces herself to Namsan and Jiwan as a former member of the South Korean Air Force. She explains that after the devastating earthquake a few years ago, her unit discovered an apartment which they converted into a shelter for survivors. Gisu later arrived, claiming to be a doctor, and was allowed to stay. However, Yoonho and her subordinates eventually uncovered Gisu's sinister experiments on military personnel. When she reported this to her superior, Sergeant Kwon, he defended Gisu and ordered her capture, forcing Yoonho to flee. After sharing her story, Yoonho asks for Namsan's assistance in rescuing her subordinates, who are still at the apartment. On the other hand, Suna and her group have arrived at the apartment, where they receive a warm welcome from the residents. Even Gisu greets them, referring to the place as their new home. As a gesture of hospitality, Gisu offers drinks to Suna and the others before showing them to their respective rooms. Upon entering her room, Suna couldn't believe the spacious and well-equipped accommodations, a stark contrast to the hardships she had experienced in her district. Concurrently, Namsan intends to meet with Tiger to uncover how the gangsters managed to acquire clean water. In their headquarters, Tiger observes a brawl between his henchmen and a rival gang from another area. Just then, Namsan, accompanied by Jiwan and Yoonho, confronts Tiger, thus causing a fight to ensue. Through his martial arts skills, Namsan defeats all the gang members, including Tiger himself. Meanwhile, at the apartment, Suna approaches Kwon and inquires about her grandmother's whereabouts. The woman overhears their conversation and informs Suna that her grandmother is still at the clinic receiving medical care. Shortly after, all the new apartment residents gather for an orientation session. Teenagers like Suna and Jo-ye are to attend educational classes, while others, such as the parents, are assigned the task of purifying the apartment's water supply. Back at the gangster hideout, Namsan continues to interrogate Tiger's henchmen, who have regained consciousness, but they refuse to provide information about the clean water. Growing frustrated, Namsan resorts to further force. Finally, Tiger confesses that they obtained the clean water by selling teenagers to a military group based in an apartment. Meanwhile, Suna and Jo-ye arrive in their new classroom, where the woman is their teacher. Suna begins to notice the peculiar behavior of the students and grows suspicious about the hidden secrets in their new home. Before class begins, Gisu, accompanied by soldiers, enters and distributes water bottles to all the students, urging them to drink. Suna takes the opportunity to inquire about her grandmother, and Gisu explains that she still requires intensive care at the clinic and will remain there for several more days. That night, Suna covertly explores various rooms to uncover the truth. Meanwhile, in the workers' area, Jo-ye's parents attempt to defy the guards who prevent them from seeing their daughter. Gisu, alerted by the disturbance, enters the workers' quarters and orders his henchmen to escort Jo-ye's parents to his laboratory. At the same time, Suna enters Gisu's room, where she stumbles upon the doctor's diary. It contains notes detailing experiments aimed at reviving humans. As her suspicions intensify, she ventures into other rooms connected to Gisu's quarters and finds Jo-ye, who lays unconscious, having been used as an experiment by the doctor. Just as Suna tries rescuing Jo-ye, Gisu abruptly returns with Jo-ye's parents, prompting Suna to hide. Jo-ye's parents are horrified to find a girl inside a box with her heart still beating. After witnessing what has been done to their child, the parents grow furious with Gisu. Suddenly, Jo-ye begins convulsing, sending Gisu into a panic as he checks her status on a monitor. Unfortunately, Jo-ye dies moments later. Enraged, Jo-ye's parents confront him, but Gisu shows no remorse and ultimately kills them both. Suna is still hidden, but Gisu finds her. Meanwhile, Namsan devises a plan to rescue everyone targeted by the doctor, including Suna. Yoonho informs him that the apartment is heavily guarded by soldiers, but Namsan explains that they will use Tiger to gain access to the apartment. The following morning, Namsan brings Tiger with him to convince the guards to let them in. When the guards refuse to open the gate, Namsan accelerates his car at high speed, crashing through the entrance. Jiwan and Yoonho soon after join Namsan in fighting Kwon's forces, defeating all the soldiers. Meanwhile, Suna endures great pain as Gisu continues his experiments on her. Yoonho then leads the group into an underground room to rescue her subordinates. However, they are shocked to discover that Yun-ho's subordinates have transformed into monsters and begin attacking them mindlessly. This forces the group to defend themselves and ultimately kill all of them. At this point, shortly after Namsan directs the group to search for Suna, after taking down several soldiers through explosions, more of Kwan's troops arrive due to the commotion. This prompts Namsan to instruct the others to continue their mission while he deals with the soldiers. As they reach the upper floor, Yun-ho, who has already taken out several guards, finally encounters Kwan himself. Yun-ho tells Ji-wan to find Suna immediately as she intends to confront Kwan, while Namsan, having defeated all the troops on the lower floor, plans to join the group on the upper floor. Meanwhile, Yun-ho struggles against Kwan's relentless attacks. Seeing Yun-ho's vulnerability, Kwan offers her the chance to rejoin his troops, but Yun-ho firmly rejects and retaliates by attacking Kwan with a knife. Enraged, Kwan brutally beats Yun-ho until she loses consciousness. Meanwhile, Ji-wan finds the classroom where the woman is teaching and holds her at gunpoint, demanding to know where Suna is. As he makes his way toward the lab, Kwan appears to intercept Ji-wan, who has the woman as a hostage. Fortunately, Namsan arrives and challenges Kwan to a duel. Inside the experimentation room, Jisoo begins to cough up blood due to the serum he had injected into his body. Suna tells Jisoo that all his efforts will be in vain because he can never bring his daughter back to life. Moments later, Ji-wan finally locates the lab, but is hit on the head from behind by one of Jisoo's henchmen. Jisoo instructs the woman to assist him in placing his daughter's body inside a suitcase to make his escape. Meanwhile, Namsan is still fighting Kwan. Namsan manages to throw Kwan's body through a glass block, finally defeating him. In the midst of the chaos, Jisoo sets off a grenade in the lab to eliminate all traces of his research, killing the woman in the process. Shortly after, Namsan enters the lab, finding Ji-wan and Suna alive, much to his relief. Meanwhile, Jisoo finds himself in the apartment courtyard, facing the anger of the people whose children had been used as subjects for his experiments. On the other hand, Yun-ho regains consciousness and immediately begins searching for Namsan and the others. Together they look for Jisoo, who is indiscriminately attacking people with a weapon. Jisoo persists in his actions after discovering that the container holding his daughter's body has been destroyed. However, in a swift turn of events, Namsan successfully takes him down by shooting the doctor in the head, putting an end to the madness. Sometime later, things in the apartment begin to settle down, and Yun-ho expresses her gratitude to Namsan and the others for helping to resolve the issues in the building. Before heading home, Namsan and Ji-wan reveal the truth to Suna about her grandmother's passing. They accompany Suna to her grandmother's grave and pay their respects. In the final scene, Namsan, Ji-wan, and Suna are back at the bus district and have become a family, continuing their lives in the Badlands. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.